Hello, my name is Mike Murphy. I'm from the Geography Department of the UCC, and we are here at the National Famine Museum in Strokestown. And you can see the slide here. It's from Achill, and it shows basically the ruins of houses from probably the 1800s. And we often think that these are the houses that the people lived in that suffered in the famine and that died. And actually that's not the situation at all really, because the actual epicenter of the famine were the people who were living in mud hovels. They were the four-class houses. You had four different housing classes. You had first, second, third and fourth, and the fourth are really the poorest of the poor, particularly in the western seaboard of Ireland. For instance, if you look at here, you can see the people living in a bog, in a four-class house, a mud hovel really, a single room with a door. They have no facilities whatsoever. And we had 1.3 million houses in Ireland in 1841 census. Of that 1.3 million, 492,000 were single room mud hovels. So you're probably close to 600,000 families living in these conditions. Often two or three generations inside in the single room with no chimney, no window, and eking out an existence in the corner of a bog. And now you see the transition of the distribution of four-class houses in the country from 1841 to 1851. As you can see, some of these areas had almost 65% of the housing stock were four-class, and you can see now they're being wiped off the face of the earth. And they were wiped off the face of the earth, and the people in them died and rotted where they were. And of course, within 10-15 years, there was no trace of the hovel, there was no trace of the people in them. Some may have been lucky to have got assistance to immigrate, but in a lot of cases they actually died on the spot and they were basically forgotten. And it was because of this that we had a famine commemoration in UCC. 2 years ago we decided to build a replica of a four-class house, just to give people an idea of what they look like. I mean, you can't recreate the misery of what it really felt like, but what we could do is give something to people to step inside it and just have some idea what it was like, and maybe spare a thought for the people who had to live in these conditions. And there are plenty of stories that are harrowing across the country, and one that always comes to mind is sometimes when the hovel would collapse, particularly if it couldn't be kept warm, to start decaying, and to collapse down on top of the decaying bodies, the rotting corpses inside in the hovel. And when people came to try and offer some assistance, they often found the door closed, and they discovered that sometimes the mother would usually be the last to perish, because mothers tend to be the strongest. And to give the family a small bit of dignity in their final moments, she closed the door. So it wasn't unusual to find the door closed. And I went to these hovels, and of course the stench of the putrid bodies from the actual corpses and the dying animals as well as humans, you just can't imagine what it was like. And they disappeared from the landscape, wiped off the face of the earth.